What is up, everybody? Welcome to the On the Block podcast with yours truly, Andrew Yalo. I'm here joined with my good friend, Smooth Mister.
Hello, everyone. I'm Smooth.
And we have a special guest this time around. Please welcome Ivy.
Oh my god, hello. Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. So if you guys are watching Big Brother Minecraft Season 8, you know that Ivy was just on it. She's a part of the cast. And the reason why she's on this episode is because she just won the latest head of household competition. So everyone give it up for Ivy.
Yay!
Yeah.
Also, if you're not watching, like, what are you doing here?
Right? And like go back, watch the episode right now.
Go watch it.
Yeah, go for it. All right. But we're here with Ivy. Ivy was just on the latest season. Ivy's also, I've known Ivy for a pretty long time. I've known these two for a little while because both of these guys played on Minecraft Survivor Nightmare Island, and that was really awesome.
Together.
You guys played on it together. I'm pretty sure y'all started off on separate tribes, but
No, we're on the same tribe.
oh, never. Well,
Were we?
Yeah, we're on the tribe.
Yeah, I
damn.
probably did not know your name.
But we never worked together, so...
No, not at all.
Yeah,
I was
but this
working
is
with
where
Daffodil.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, yeah. These two were on the same season. That's where they both met, and yeah, it's pretty fun. So Ivy, tell me what kind of went through your life from Nightmare Island to now. How did you end up on this season?
Okay, so since Nightmare Island, I've been kind of introduced to the season. I made a lot of friends, and because of that, I competed in a lot more game shows and became more, I guess, a better player and everything else. And that kind of led me back to here. It's like, oh, one of my friends is like, oh, he's casting for another season. I was like, you know what? It's been too long. I should try it again.
Yeah, and one of your friends was someone that had already played on my show as well. Why don't you give them a little shout out?
Do I have to? They're
Yeah.
kind of stinky.
Oh, I mean,
Kyle.
you don't have Kyle. Yeah, we have Kyle
Yeah.
from Big Brother Minecraft Season 4. A good friend of Ivy recommended that we put Ivy on the cast, but it was already a shoe. And as soon as I saw Ivy apply, I was like, we got to get Ivy on this thing again.
Yes.
I mean, it was a given. I mean, come on, Ivy's classic character from Nightmare Island had an amazing vote off moment.
Oh god, that's so embarrassing.
But
And like I was also like 14 at the time.
Yeah,
you know,
Ivy was
and I'm,
really
like,
young.
20 now.
Now Ivy's 20. Look at that. So time goes on. Ivy had a big like evolution moment, and
Yeah.
is on this cast.
You know, my
now.
balls dropped.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, literally.
crazy.
Crazy.
Anyway, yeah. So Ivy makes it on this cast. We're going into week 2, playing in the classic wall competition, and Ivy crushes it. Ivy's crushing it.
I don't know how. I always flop that competition.
Yeah, but you were killing it.
I did it.
You did
I don't
the
know
thing.
how. I think everybody else was just bad.
Yeah, I mean,
So
Yeah.
definitely no
I mean-
one. Yeah.
not beans.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Not
half the
shit.
people dropped.
Yeah, half the
within
people
the
did
first
drop within the
second,
first
like-
second. It's crazy. Like that usually happens too, which I don't understand why. I mean, like I personally am not the best on my own challenges, but you gotta give props to Ivy, Ray, Beans, like all of them that were up there and they
For
put
sure.
in the work.
Yes.
But all of this happens right after Heather gets out, and obviously last week was a crazy first week. It was probably
Yeah.
one of the most unprecedented weeks of all time. Or you could say it is one of the weeks of all time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're coming out of a crazy week, and then Ivy, you did it, and you won head of household. So like immediately you went up to the HOH room with Liz, and you were like, "Well, I want to nominate all men."
Yeah.
And was this because you felt like Aiden was targeting the women?
Yeah, so like seeing like the gender split like from like the first week, I was like, oh my gosh, the women have such a good chance of like actually doing well. And then all of a sudden 2 of them are on the block, and I'm like, oh fuck.
And it's really wild. Like, did you expect that to happen going into the season?
No, it literally, when Aiden literally nominated someone out of left field, I was like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
Also, it's like it seemed like everyone was, I don't know who he was gonna nominate at all, but it did not seem like it was gonna be Heather.
Yeah,
So-
and all of you guys were pretty set on not like voting out Brad, right? Like it
Yeah.
just seemed like that was the obvious choice. So
It was yeah, exactly.
it
We were all prepared to vote out Brad, and
Yeah.
whatever, it happened.
So now you come into power. Your task is now to nominate 2 people for eviction. Liz immediately comes to you and is like, we got to vote up. We got to put up TJ. What's your reaction on that?
You know, there was like a certain group of people I was already like looking at. It was basically all the straight guys. You know, it was like Aiden. You know, Jake's not straight, but I was lumping him in there.
Yeah.
TJ, Popoli, Ray. Those people I was already looking at. And when Liz was like, put up TJ, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
you know,
you didn't even second guess it. You were like, all right.
I was like,
sure.
yeah, okay. You know, I was trusting her. It's my full. She was my final 2.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna listen to what she has to say and fully trust her to the max.
So
Period.
I wanna ask you, because a lot of the viewers have been bringing it up, just for the chat comments and all that. They've been bringing up that you and Liz have known each other, and you guys made it pretty obvious that you've known each other within like the first 2 episodes. So kind of walk us through how you and Liz became friends and how, you know, this relationship or this friendship started.
Okay. So the first time, oh God, when was the first time I met Liz? You know, my good old friend Dylan, or Makozy, he competed on here. He used to like host game shows, and I think me and her competed on a season together, and that's kind of when our friendship started. And
Gotcha, yeah.
since then, we've always competed on a lot of things. Like we competed on that one season of Wahoo that never aired.
Oh, Hannah. Yep.
Yep. And then seeing this whole cast, I remember we were in the waiting room and everything. I was like, oh God. I'm like, I'm so nervous. It's so early. I see Liz. I'm like, no, this is not who the fuck I think it is. Oh, sorry, I cursed.
No, you're good.
Oh, well.
You're good.
So seeing Liz, I was like, oh shit, I gotta work with her. She's my girl. She's always been my girl. Like whenever we've played together, I've always worked with her, and we've always worked together well. We've never made it far, but maybe it changes this season. So, you know, I was very excited.
That's awesome. And I'm glad that like you were able to kind of, well, I mean, it's like bittersweet, because I'm glad that you were able to find sort of an agency with Liz and like to make an alliance with her. And also at the same time for us hosts, it's like, oh fuck, like we know that you guys know each other, and it's like, damn, like now they're just working together. But I think that you and Liz made it like acceptable and to an extent, because I do genuinely feel like if you guys didn't know each other and you were coming into the game for the first time,
I feel like we still would have worked.
You still would have worked together, and it doesn't like take away from the show at all. So like, it's one of those rare instances where it's like, it's okay, because again, it's only like the 2 of you. It's not like you're going in there with like a whole big group of people and you're like, oh yeah, let's all work together. So I mean, to that extent, that stuff like that doesn't really bother me, and I don't think the viewer should really care as much too, because I mean, y'all are just aligned, so you're just doing the thing.
I feel like we also did it correctly though. We didn't really tell everybody like Popoli and Beans did.
Yeah, exactly.
They're telling everything. It's like, oh my God, we used to date. Like we dated for like 5 hours, blah, 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 blah. And me and Liz, we're just keeping this shit to ourselves. It's like, if you go in and you know someone, you don't tell them. That's like a cardinal rule.
Yeah.
Like you don't tell anyone that you know each other.
And my next question to you, Ivy, is also like, so you know that you know that Popoli and Beans are like a duo. Like, you know, that's a fact. You know that they've known each other. So when you got HOH, did you at all for a split second think about nominating both of them, because it's just an easy way out to kind of like put people up without getting blood on your hands?
You know, I guess at the time, not really. Like Popoli, he was definitely an option, but Beans, no. Beans was so close to like winning. So I felt like if Beans won, I would not have gone anywhere.
Gotcha.
So for me, I was like, why would I put this girl up? She hasn't done anything to anyone. And she's a girl. I made it pretty clear. Like within like the first 5 seconds, like I'm not putting up any women this week. So I was like, maybe you could put up one, but not the other. But
yeah,
at the time, that's not really like where like my focuses were set.
And did you know about their plan, Popoli and Beans' plan to like try to make an all-woman household plus Popoli?
No, I was never in on it.
So
I had no clue that was even a thing.
Yeah.
It's like all women and Popoli but Ivy. Like, what the fuck is this about?
That's crazy. Yeah.
So, I mean, if I knew about that, maybe I would have said something more, and maybe more would have happened. But I had no clue that was even a thing.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, that's interesting. So then, immediately after all, like you win HOH as well, you're talking with a bunch of people, you decide to drag in Aiden. And I think to a lot of the viewers' surprise is that you immediately tell him that you're willing to work with him. And so what kind of, and we were talking about this earlier, but do you even remember telling him or even coming to that
Yes.
conclusion, like why you kept him safe or wanted to do that?
So during Aiden's HOH, when he brought me in, he's like, I have like a good vibe with you. It's like, I like you. And I remember telling him, like, if I ever win HOH, you're safe, like, no matter what.
Yeah.
And, you know, in this game, like, your word is, like, everything. So I decided to, even after all, like, the bullshit that went on, I was like, okay, maybe I'll stick with what I said to him and keep him safe, because, like, why would I go back on that and make myself look like an idiot?
Yeah.
But yeah, when he was so like, oh, I'm getting nominated. I'm so angsty. But I was like, we have a deal. Like, you should have been thinking about this. Like, you know, it was a good thing I won.
Yeah.
But, you know, also during the time, I didn't really see all the bullshit. I was kind of clocked out, like, mentally during, like, the first week. I was like, what's really happening? You know, it's so early in the morning. I'm like, just like on Instagram. And like they're just fighting, you know, it's like everyone's on the blog vote, like screaming at each other. I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, just not really paying attention. So, you know, I guess if I paid more attention, maybe I would have considered Aiden as a nomination option. But you know, during the time, it wasn't really something I wanted to do.
Yeah, I will say it's definitely an interesting approach that you took, because I'm sure a lot of people would have went a safer route and just nominated Aiden, but going that other route kind of opens up a lot of doors for other people's games to be exposed, because the minute your ass hits the block, it's kind of like an oh shit moment. You have to start playing the game. So I feel like for a lot of people, they were kind of just taking the easy route and playing it safe and just, you know, trying to be a bystander and a wallflower. But the minute you nominate new people that haven't been up on the block yet, that's kind of when like more people start playing the game. So it's definitely interesting. And I don't think that necessarily was a bad move on your part. Let's see.
Also, I will say, it's like, if he like told people I had like a deal with him, it's like, what's that gonna do? It's gonna make me look like a loser.
Oh, exactly.
Like someone that's not really trustworthy. So I'm like, I can't really go back on this.
Yeah. So honestly, like that move is I think it's going to be an overlooked move on your part, and I don't think the viewers really will understand that if they don't really pay attention to like the details of the edit. Because like you said, there was a conversation that you and Aiden had where like he was complimenting your purple hair and was just
my pink hair.
Your pink hair. Yeah. So like if the viewers, if you're not really closely paying attention to these like small but yet important conversations, like it could really get overlooked. So like even for me, like you reminded me of that. I'm like, oh yeah, like that's right, that did happen, and now that makes a lot more sense as to why you didn't nominate him. Anyway, we have this whole other conversation going on. Like while everything else is going on with you in the house, we have TJ running amok, and he's confronting Maxim about who are the dolls, which gets the episode title of this episode.
Yeah.
So, it's been a running joke in our Discord, in the season 8 Discord. This is probably one of the most memeable moments the entire season.
Yeah, who are the dolls?
Who are the dolls? And like TJ, we love you, man. But that was a really funny moment there. So when he does something like that, Ivy, and he's calling out Maxim in front of like essentially half the house about having an alliance with a big group of people, like what does that say to you?
You know, like it's like, oh shit, he's very confrontational. Like, you know, I had like, okay, before the nomination ceremony, I did hear like multiple times of him like walking into a room being like, oh, the dolls are here, and then like walk out. It's like very like, I don't want to say it was passive aggressive, but you know, it's like very like, let me just throw this out there. Let me just, you know, it can get people like thinking a certain way. Like, hey, it's like, oh shit, wait, what do you mean? They're working together? Hold on. Like, and then, you know, it can just like completely, it can just like change the way people are thinking. So like hearing him do all that, I'm like, this guy's not really trustworthy. Like I can't really, you know, like rely on him that much.
Yeah, I get you.
It's like more of another reason to put him up on the block. Like him doing all this, and also Liz being like, hey, you should put him up.
It's just an easy open target for you.
Easy nomination.
Yeah, easy nomination for you. Smooth, I wanted to ask you, so this whole dolls thing that's happening, then you've got on the other token, you have Ray going to Madison. and saying like, "Oh yeah, I voted you out." Like when you see something like that happen, like what do you make of that? Because people being super honest to people seems like a big trend this season. We see Maxim admitting to Madison that they're targeting Madison. It's just like very strange. What do you make of that?
So, I don't think there's anything wrong with people saying like, "Hey, I voted you," because in Nightmare Island, I did do. I think I said that to Josh like after the first merge vote, and I'm cool with that. But the fact that people are sharing with each other who their targets are, that's not a good move in my opinion. Because if you're gonna share who your target is, you're basically giving someone, basically your target, a reason to get you out.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't benefit your game either because you aren't going to get a bounty card. So in my eyes, I think it's better to keep your target a secret unless you are like really closely aligned with them, which we don't really see at all because targets come out immediately and no one's going to have like a close alliance that early on unless they know someone. And the only instance we got of that was Pepoli and Beans, and Pepoli's totally cool with getting Beans out. So
Yeah.
we don't really see that instance. So I think telling someone, like being honest, "Hey, I voted you," that's cool. I would never share to someone, "Hey, you're my target."
Especially someone that you're not even like closely working with too, which is what I wanted to ask you, Ivy, is like how open and honest should you be in a game of Big Brother?
Oh my god. I mean, you should be honest, but like if you have like a reason to get someone out, I'm not going to tell this person that reason.
Yeah.
So it's just going to create another reason for them to want to get you out. You know, like there's been like multiple people already that were like, "Oh yeah, you're my target, but I don't really want to do it about it." Like I was never going to tell Jake like,
yeah,
"Hey, you're my target," because it's like I don't want this person to like not potentially trust me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because like when like last week when like Maxim was telling Madison, just being like, "Oh, you're my target, but I don't act on those feelings like unless you don't work with me." It was like, what?
Yeah, it's kind of like you're holding them hostage. You have a gun up to their head. And you're like, yeah, like here, you're gonna work with me, or I'm voting your ass out, and I'm getting a card, and I'm gonna get an advantage. Yeah, so I don't know. It's a really interesting twist that like when we kind of like were creating it, like instances like these, I never really thought of these happening, which is interesting. I don't know. Like I never would have thought people would have been so open and honest about the target twist.
Yeah.
Like that never really crossed my mind. Like I thought people would really take it to the grave with them, but it's interesting to see the way that different people are approaching it. Like Pepoli has a different approach than Ray does, and Ray has a different approach than Maxim does. It's all very interesting. So now we cut to a conversation in the HOH room with Ivy talking to Madison and Maxim. And so like we can kind of already see that Madison and Maxim are becoming a pair, and there's a lot of emerging pairs in the house too. So we have Madison and Maxim, we have Ivy and Liz, we have Pepoli and Beans to an extent because Pepoli is already like planning on turning on her, but that won't happen until down the line. But yeah, so at the moment we have a lot of emerging pairs. So Ivy, I'm not sure I don't think it happens in this episode, but there is an episode that's coming up where Ivy is like, yeah, these two, I got to keep an eye on them because they're kind of getting too close. And so, I mean, what are your opinions on these two?
So, I actually noticed that during the first week. So, I really liked Maxim, but
liked.
Okay, well, just don't mind my wording. You know, I'm saying liked as in it happened a while ago. So I still like Maxim. Maxim's like one of the people from the show I actually don't mind as much. They're still awful in every way, and I hope they hear this. But you know, I don't mind them as much as the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I get you.
You know, I should message him after this and be like, "Oh, you know, I love you still." In a way, no. Okay. Anyways, but so like seeing Maxim and Madison, I'm like, okay, I really like these two, but they're always together. They're talking all the time. And it's like, okay, this is great. I want to work with you guys, but I know I will never be as close to Maxim as Madison is to Maxim. So I will never be Maxim's Madison. So
I get you.
I was like, okay, this is like cute. Like I really like you two, but like I won't, you know, I don't want to be third wheeling on this final two that's happening. in my HOH room. So, you know, it was definitely something I like looked at and I was like, I just shouldn't do anything yet.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you, like, you definitely wouldn't have considered nominating them that week because it was just
not at all.
there's just a lot more people
Especially,
that need.
Yeah. Especially after like last week, I was like, I don't think I could take a blow.
Yeah.
Because I liked Heather. I like these two. I don't want either of these two to go up.
And so I want to also ask you this whole Dolls alliance because it's not really. It's more of an unspoken alliance. So like in the terms of the Dolls alliance at that point in the game, like what did that mean to you when Maxim's telling everybody that, oh, we're the Dolls? Like, did you immediately assume that you guys were in an alliance, that you weren't gonna like touch each other?
So it was honestly never more than just like saying, hey, we're the Dolls. Like, yes. Like we never did anything else besides that. Like there was really like we did not have like any group meetings being like, okay, Dolls, what should we do next?
Yeah.
Like that never happened. Like there was literally one instance where like, oh my god, this is the Dolls, and that was it.
And that was it, right?
That was it. Nothing else happened from that. And then from that, it was like spiraled into this big old like, oh, they're in this alliance, the girls and the gays. And you know, it really came out of nothing because after that though, like after something was said, we kind of came into like this little like, okay, maybe we should just like keep each other's back safe because if people are going to come after us because of this non-real alliance, then we should keep each other. We should look after each other.
And I assume that when you get on a season like this and you see a lot more like better representation from different types of backgrounds, like it kind of it has to make you feel somewhat more comfortable in playing like a just being yourself type of game, right?
Yes, without a doubt, yeah. And it's great having like, because I know in like a bunch of past seasons there's not as many women.
Yeah.
And it's just like a lack of women in the community. So like during like Nightmare Island, there wasn't that many girls.
Yeah.
Like I literally worked with the only girl on my tribe, and she was sent home second. So you know, it's great having more representation because it's more options and more people to work with.
Cool. I love to hear that. I'm glad that we were able to like do you justice, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Let's see. So one of the last conversations you have in the head of household room before nominations is with Popoli, and he's kind of just giving you, he says he has like a list of people that he doesn't trust or like that we don't trust as a collective unit. He said that like he says the house doesn't trust Aiden obviously because of his head of household reign, and then he also reveals that a lot of people are kind of put off by TJ because he's making everyone uncomfortable with the whole Dolls thing and trying to push Brad to go home. So everyone, like, I mean, not even just Popoli, like it was Madison and Maxim too. They were kind of telling you like, oh, we should probably put up Aiden. Like Aiden's the obvious nominee. So like it didn't cross your mind that you wanted to put him up. You just immediately wanted to go for TJ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just like, you know, I probably should have just told everyone like I had to deal with him. I can't go back on this deal. But I didn't really do that. I was just like, oh really? We should put him up. Okay, I'll consider that. Because that's making me look a bit more of an not untrustworthy, but more suspicious character.
Yeah.
So, you know, I guess at the time, I was really just kind of focused on TJ. I was like, I got to put up TJ.
Yeah.
TJ's the one, but I will say it was kind of, I don't want to say Liz controlled me, but Liz's word like meant like a lot to me at that point. So
of course.
I was like, okay, what Liz says, I agree with her. Let me work with my girl. Let's put up TJ.
Yeah.
So TJ was kind of like the main one. But then also like Jake, because Jake was also my target. I was like, Jake is another person I should really put up there and consider as an option to go home. Like, I don't want to get too close to this person because, you know, they're my target. And I would love it if they went home as well. Get myself some safety.
I think it's just funny how you and Liz are working together and you both your targets, TJ and Jake, you end up like those are just so happen to be the targets of the week. Yeah, I just find that really funny. Yeah.
She never even told me that TJ was her target.
Yeah.
Like if she told me that TJ was her target, I would have been like 100 times more down.
Yeah.
But then like
really funny.
It's making her, I guess, look more credible. It's like, oh, look how I was able to control this girl to put up my target.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean it was great for her, but you know, for our final two, I guess it wasn't so great.
So now you go to nominate TJ at this nomination ceremony, and he pulls out like the first opportunity for somebody to pull out the bounty card, and it happens immediately. Like the first person that you go to nominate, and it happens. So now you must be shitting yourself.
I was shitting myself because I was like, I would be like, it's so fun. It would be so funny if someone pulled out their bounty card here, and then it fucking happened. I was so annoyed. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just flustered. So I was like, okay, I'll just go with my second option, which was Jake. It's like, I don't know. I was just like so flustered, and it's like, well, I'm not gonna do that because I figured this would happen.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, this guy is just annoying the hell out of me. You know,
and then you decided to put up Ray as well too.
You know, because Ray's not talking to me or to like anyone. Like Ray's so quiet.
He's sick as fuck. Like
he's like hi. After the show though, like Ray is like not quiet at all.
No,
but
he's
like
not. Yeah.
during the show, quiet, shy person.
Quiet.
So I was like, okay, shit. I didn't even know his name. Like that's how like I was like, Survivor Riser, this guy, we should put him up. That guy. And they're like, oh, you mean Ray? I was like, yeah, Ray, sorry.
That's funny. That's really funny. So yeah, those are your 2 nominations. That's how the episode ends. And we're looking for a nice, fun power veto competition in episode 4. And we're looking at a nice eviction episode in episode 4. So Ivy, at this point in the game, those are your nominations. Right after that ceremony happens, what's your game plan and what do you want to see happen move forward in the game?
You know, at that point, I'm like, okay, let's just try to get one of these 2 people out. I will say winning HOH so early on is very scary because you're drawing a line in the sand.
Yeah.
You're basically establishing, hey, I'm not really as close to you as I am to the rest of the house. So I guess my plan after that is just to try to rebound. It's like, okay, how can I get these people to want to work with me again? How can I get these people to be like, hey, I didn't really mean to put you up. I had no other options. How can I make them all think that? So it's just my plan from here on out is just how can I get everyone to want to see me as, hey, I can trust this person instead of just being like, oh, they put me up. So just how can I rebound, really?
So are you looking forward to making, like at this point in the game, are you looking forward to making a big move in the game, or are you just trying to get as least blood in your hands and move forward without anyone kind of? So that's basically your
week 2. You don't want to do what Aiden did.
Yeah.
So you want to just like, you know, down the line, like that's something you want to do. You're gonna want to get this really big person out. You're gonna want to like backdoor this really big person.
Yeah.
But right now, like this isn't really what you want to do. You don't want everyone to look at you as this big threat, especially before jury. Like you want to make it to jury. Like that's everyone's big goal. How can I make it to jury without being seen as this huge threat? So you want to do the easiest thing. And you know, it might not be the best thing, but the easiest thing is what's going to get you the farthest because you're going to get more people happy with you and you're going to have less people mad. So it's just how can I make it to jury?
For sure. I love it. Now, Ivy, in this point of the game, you've been able to watch back some of the episodes. I reached out to all the cast like 4 months ago, and I released like the first 3 episodes for you guys to watch. So I don't believe you've seen anything from here on out.
No,
after,
nothing.
which is cool. So I want to ask you a question. After going back and watching the first 3 episodes of this season, who do you think is playing the best game?
That's a really good Liz, hands down Liz.
Yeah.
Without it, let me think. No, it's just Liz. Seeing how Liz also like knew multiple people for the season really worked in her favor.
Oh yeah.
Because I had no clue. I thought I was the only person Liz knew. So Liz, hands down, is playing the best game because she's always talking to everyone. She's being perceived as this really sweet person. She got me to put up her target. Everything is working in her favor so well. And of course, I want to say myself, I'm doing the best, but you know, one of the people used their BB bounty, so I don't think everything was working the best. But Liz, without a doubt, is playing the best game.
Yeah, I would say I would definitely agree with you on that. I think Liz is playing probably the most overall best game. Smooth, what do you think?
Who do you think's playing the best?
Yeah.
I would agree on Liz. I do think Liz and having those connections, as we've seen, is working in her favor. I mean, and it's hard not to get people that don't know each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if I had to choose a different person that I think is playing well, I would probably say Brian. And the reason why I say that is because Brian made so many social connections to people in week 1 that Aiden moved his literal target, from Brian off to someone else because Brian has such a good social game with everyone in the house.
Right, yeah.
So I think that Brian is playing very, very well socially, and I feel like he's very under the radar as of now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And then, I mean, even in like later in the season, you're gonna see some stuff happen with a lot of other people, but I definitely do agree that them two are definitely playing like really good games right now. Also, I think Popoli's playing a pretty good game too, for the fact that he's made himself such a clear, like, obvious target.
He's so outspoken,
and he's managed to like really keep a good social footing, which is really weird. But yeah, good for Popoli, I guess.
I would say like everyone's basically playing like really well besides Aiden.
Besides Aiden, Aiden. I mean, but it's also to the same effect though. He also like avoids the block this week somehow.
He avoids the block this week, so
it's like really weird. I don't know. I want to jump over to some of our YouTube questions. So we'll jump over to our Q&A section of the podcast, because I'm gonna just look through some of these comments and just pick some questions that people left from the last episode that
I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I figured to just check it out in case we got any. So from Jack Sonia, I hope I'm saying it right.
Wow.
Says, I also have questions. They have 3 questions. So number 1, without spoiling, who has the best and worst shots to win the game? All right, so we kind of just touched up on that.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it.
So but we didn't really go to the opposite.
Liz,
yeah, so best
but
Liz.
Worst probably Aiden.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. I think.
Yeah.
Worst shots to win. Let me think of who else has a pretty bad shot to win. I think probably like someone like maybe Ray, honestly.
Or maybe, God, yeah, no, Ray's so quiet, and I also want to say
Brad. Honestly, like I'm
Brad.
sorry.
I love Brad. Brad's probably one of my favorite people from the cast, but they are also like so.
They're very quiet. Very quiet.
That first week, you're like, you only know Brad is this old person. That's it. It's just an oldie.
Also, just from like an editing standpoint, like I mean, I think I mentioned this in the last podcast episode, but like Brad, Brad doesn't say a word in these combos. He just takes in a lot of information, and I'm almost certain that Popoli brought this up during the episode too. Like, there's a lot of people like Brad and Ray that will just sit there in the rooms. They won't really say much, but they'll listen in and they'll just take in a lot of information, which I think is pretty dangerous, especially like when you're in a game when people are just trying to talk and like get to know each other. So that's the only reason why I would say that they were probably like the worst shots to win, in my opinion.
I will say, I think it's a good strategy to just like listen and sit back and take off all the information. But at the same time, if you're being quiet enough, it's like, okay, who's going to be this easy nomination? Well, the person that hasn't really talked at all.
Yes.
So you want to be talking, you want to be making all these connections. So it's just not really looking good for them at the moment, I would say.
So let's see. The next question is, I'm curious, the occupations listed under each house guest, are they real or are they fake? Well, Ivy, we'll start with you. Is that a real? Are you actually a college student?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
Just started.
Yeah, I would say all of them are they are. I assume they're real. Yeah, I mean, like we take.
I think so.
During the application process, we ask everyone for like, there's like a list of like 50 or like 100 jobs that you can pick from. But then like we'll then go in, if you make it to the final round, we're like, all right, well, what occupation do you want under your name? And like, please make it as realistic as possible. Then that's pretty much what it is. Like it's like whatever you are. If you're a high school student, college student, if you're a pet sitter or a competitive cornhole player, like those are
professional bubble blower.
Professional bubble blower for Ivy. Yeah, then those are your real occupations. Yeah, but
because I think, Ivy, yours and Nightmare Island was stay-at-home loser.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and I don't think that's real.
I mean, at the time it was real, you know, but now not anymore.
Yeah. Now Ivy's a stay-at-home champion.
Exactly. Stay-at-home second HOH champion.
Yeah, there you
know?
There you
go. Let's see. Last question is what is the most dramatic moment / argument in the history of Minecraft Big Brother in y'all's opinion? Okay, so
okay, y'all cannot flame me for this. I have barely seen any other season. But from what I've seen,
yeah, from what you've seen, yeah.
But from what I've seen, I would say Peyton and like Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, fuck you, Hannah, get out of here. That's something I think about.
I think that's probably it. What about you, Smooth?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say off the bat. I'm trying to think of something else because
like Sinwar and Peyton too. I think anything involving Peyton is
Peyton is pretty crazy.
Like all the Peyton blow-ups. But besides that, I don't really think there's really been much other than like
we just saw
Madison and Heather. Yeah, that wasn't really like didn't really get too ugly.
That wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
could have been crazier.
It was just funny. It was just like funny to witness because like you don't expect people to like already be at each other's throats on week one.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. No one saw that coming.
I can just read off some of these comments for you. Oh, question for Mr. Yalo. Let's see. This is from Mr. Griddle. In the past, you've mentioned how you shake up week one to prevent an easy power structure early on. What made you decide to keep week one traditional on this season? That is a really good question. So the reason why we still kept a head of household is because when you throw in a twist such as this bounty card twist, it adds a sense of paranoia into the house and a sense of unknown. So when you have like you already know you're going into the game, and when you throw in a twist like that where people are forced to keep a secret from you, or like they have the option to keep a secret from you, you already know that somebody has information that you don't have, which causes paranoia. And that was the incentive behind that twist. We wanted to create paranoia week one, and we wanted people to like actively fear that somebody is out to get them, which when you have head of household that week, it kind of makes you second guess, should I nominate these people? Who should I work with? Mm-hmm. So you kind of keep your circle close in a sense. I feel like that's the approach that I think we saw with this season.
Yeah.
And I think that when you really switch up week one, like twists or week one HOHs, I think that you'll see stuff like that. I don't think we've ever had an issue with big power alliances like coming into the game of Minecraft because of the time constraints. You don't have much time to really like get to know these people. Like you play this game for 17 hours. Like that's really it. So it's not like you're playing it for an entire summer. So the pacing of the game is much different. So I also think that has also to do with reason why we don't see big alliances in the game of Big Brother Minecraft.
And I will say, I think it worked. Like the paranoia really worked because what everyone only wants to know is like, who's targeting me? Who is the one with my, like, who the fuck is wanting me out? Little did I know my person got out like one, but that's literally what everyone was always thinking about.
Yeah. And it's crazy though, because like, yes, you get a power for getting out your target, but it's not like a crazy power.
No.
It's just some like easy, like kind of like an immunity idol where it's like, okay, well I can use this.
Get out of jail free card.
Yeah, it's really just a get out of jail free card, and it only has one use, so it's not like a crazy overpowered advantage. So I think that's also really interesting too, to see how people will go that far for at least some sort of get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I just skimmed through it all. But yeah, if you have other questions, you want us to kind of touch up on certain topics or anything like that on this podcast, I think we're gonna have Ivy back for the next episode potentially, and so Ivy will be back. We're gonna have Smooth back hopefully. I'm not sure who the guests will be, but we're gonna try to get as many as we can because the next episode is an eviction episode, so that's gonna be really awesome. Any of you guys have anything else to say?
Woo! So happy to be here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just keep watching. Make sure you're staying, just keep watching.
Oh, yeah.
And picking up on those little details, because that will give you a better full understanding of what's happening.
Definitely, Smooth. I appreciate you adding that in and hammering that detail down. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, I'm going to hammer it. All right.
Oh, dude, I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Hammer it down.
Damn. And unfortunately, we won't be doing the segment of why Andrew sucks this time around because we don't have Elite Chris here. But yeah, maybe in the next one.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time. Yeah. So yeah, please comment down below if you're watching on YouTube, like your questions, topic ideas or whatever. You know, we'll be here to talk about whatever. And also leave suggestions for guests for the podcast because we can get anybody you guys want. All right.
Yes.
All right,
your
guys.
mom.
Yeah, maybe your mom. Maybe your mother wants
yeah.
to be on here. Yeah, that's crazy.
She would love it.
Maybe
Yeah, that'd be
Ivy's
awesome.
grandfather clock.
Exactly. You know, he would love to be on here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. I'm Andrew Yalo with Ivy and Smooth. We'll see you all in the next week.